Hi all. I hope I haven't created too much confusion. I probably have. I've been working on this one, which is not like the drawing that my classes have seen. So, and you could do either one, and I'll be happy to supply people with this drawing if they would like. I just now figured out what to do with it. I'm putting some red apples over here, and I don't know, a horizon line or something back there, and maybe a little bit of shadows, and that's probably about it, unless I think of something else. And I'll do that soon on video. So here's the one that I started with the Thursday class. And so then what do I do next? I was trying to decide what colors, and so remember this? Okay, well, I trimmed the sides off of this because it needed to be cropped down, and oh gee, look what I tore off of one side right there. That's a pretty nice color. It's light and airy. By the way, you can see I got carried away with my pencil here and put polka dots in, which was not my original plan. Okay, I need to shut this up. Which was not my original plan to put polka dots in there. I was putting little dots down because I was going to make the little swirly things. And then I liked the dots so well, I made them bigger. And then I made stripes here so that it would be more interesting. Okay, so I'm thinking this color here, and then maybe this orange. It's got some spots in it. And should I put those spots in it or not? But I was thinking about an orange down here, which is, you know, not a very, I mean, that's three distinct different colors. This really works with the flower. And this looks good with the blue and with the flower. I think it'll work. So let's get this one in first. The only problem is I usually can look at one and know exactly what I used. And I'm looking at this and I'm not just totally confident that I do know what I used. So let's try and mix something like it anyway. So I'm going to guess that yellow is either a nickel azo or even a cadmium. Let's put some cadmium down in here. Oops, got a little blue still left on my brush. Well, that won't hurt anything. And I won't need a lot of paint because this is pretty light application of color, I think. And let's look at, oh, I could use cerulean, or I could use phthalo, or I could use Prussian. Any of those might get me close to that. I think I'll go with the phthalo. And here's the thing. I don't need much blue in with that. Oh, well, that's not it at all. It's not it at all. Oh, I'm thinking backwards. This is really a blue with a touch of yellow in it, not the other way around. All right, let's put some phthalo blue over here, and let's. Oh, gee. See what that looks like. Well, that looks like the blue. And so maybe I'll drop a little bit of this green into it. Let's do that. Okay, here we go. I've got a pattern in it, and I've got shading in it, which I did with that pencil, and some of it I just smudged with my finger while it was wet. And that worked for me. And it's real funny. When I drop this paint in, and it gets close to the pencil lines, some of that pencil, well, it does a thing where it holds some of the color back, which I think is fun. And you could let that happen. There's really a teeny bit of it's surface tension is what it is. It's causing that. It's got like almost like an air pocket there that's holding it. I don't have to get this even. Well, of course, this isn't the right color. I want that soft greenish look. Let's just drop in a little bit of, remember this other stuff I mixed up? I don't want it to be too green. I prefer a little bit on the blue side, but I want to keep it pretty light. And I'm perfectly happy with some of it just being the light blue. See, there's a little bit of variety of color in here, but we're keeping the value pretty close to the same, which makes it stand as a whole there. See up here, there's just some pure blue. Okay, so while I'm going to let that dry, I think I'll come over here and I'll put greens back in here. And the green I was using Nickel Azo, pretty sure. And I was using, well, I guess we could use a little phthalo again. Ooh, not much. Let's see. And I've got some Queen Gold in here too. So what I have, oops. What I have is kind of a mixture of, see, I've got some Queen Gold in over in this area, and I've got some of the other mixture that I just described over here, and I can kind of make a variety of mixes there with that. One should always have a paper towel handy. All right. See, I like that. I like that. It's going to dry a little bit lighter, which, yeah, I prefer it to be just a tiny bit lighter. So let's put some leaves in. Let's see. So we've got this nice happy green color here. Oh, well, that's really happy, isn't it? That is screaming yellow green. Might want to pull a little more. A little Queen Gold in there, maybe. So here I've got some really strong darks into it, too, which we'll come back to that, because right now we're putting in happy highlights. Happy highlights. Yeah, I like the sound of that. Trying to keep this in the frame. And, oh, let's go ahead and put a little color in this, then we'll go on top of it with something else. Because I'm going to have to make a darker green there. It needs to be darker. And let's vary the color on this one. Let's vary the color on both of them. And then let's let that end maybe trail off there. Yeah, a little bit of smudges. Let's see, and then we've got this one. Yeah. Well, I picked up a little darker green there. I don't know where I got that from, but that's what I need some of that. There's the happy highlight. And, you know, I believe it's time for a break. Well, wait, while it's drying, you remember this color over here? I kind of like the idea of merging a little of that in here, even though there's going to be orange down here. Just a little. I've been in a lot better mood lately, and I'm afraid I'm starting to sound like Bob Ross. Happy highlights and happy anything. That's disgusting, isn't it? Okay. A burnt orange. That's Queen Gold, which is already burnt looking, and Queen Rose. So let's just dive in and see what's going to happen. Now, right along this area, the edge of the divan, I want to keep that edge kind of clean. That's the edge of the divan right there. There we go. Okay. From there on, I can be pretty normal. So, just using the corner of this square brush. Y'all know that's how I like to paint a lot of the time. And I'd be real happy if this is slightly uneven in color. I may have to work to get it that way, because these two colors don't separate that much. They're pretty happy together. They should be. They come from the same family. Well, I believe in mixing up more than enough for the job, and I think I did it this time. I'll have to. That's why I've got so many of these plates. I can save color. That is a little strange right there. I may have to redesign something. So I'm just going to turn it this way. So I use that flat edge of that, see that edge of that flat brush? But I can't see that other edge. So I'll make the one edge, and then I'll come back, flip it over the other way. So that's so juicy, I've got a little bit of time. However, what I didn't plan on was I got no place to rest my hand. I should have left some skips in it or something. This is terribly, I feel like this is kind of boring. It's not as dark and rich as my sample. Whoa! So I may have to add more color. at the same time, the couch feels a little too light right there. What does that need? That really needs something. That's just too big of a flat area. It's just big and flat. And I don't think blotting is going to be the answer. But I guess you never know till you look, huh? Well, it might be interesting. I may wind up putting another coat of paint on this. But I like that I'm getting this texture in here. This is not a, well, this is actually a Viva, but it's a different kind of Viva. What I want is I want something that'll kind of crumple up and make more of a noticeable mark. Let's go back over here. I may have blotted just a little bit too soon, so it runs back in a little too easily. I kind of wanted it to make marks in there, and then I may actually add more color on top of it when it's dry or almost dry. Let's see what happens here. Is it going to run back in, or is it going to stop at the edge of the blot? That's what, like right there. That's what I wanted it to do. I don't think it's going to do it over there. It needs to reach a certain, the interior, the blotted part needs to be enough drier than the other part that you get some surface tension and it stops. I don't know whose technique this is. It might be mine. I might wish it wasn't. We'll see. Well, that's more interesting. More interesting is not always better. I just have to mention that. I think that the divan and the glass are going to have to cast a little bit of a shadow. Like I said, it's interesting. Okay, we'll come back in a little bit, and I don't know what'll happen. Well, I've looked at this long enough. This is awful. Here's where the sponge comes in. I found it's easiest to work with this if it's in little pieces, usually. I haven't even waited for it to dry all the way. I just know that I can't live with that. Huh. Maybe I'll leave it like what I'm doing to it right now. I might decide that that's okay. You know, maybe I'll like that. It's possible. I love painting with these things. All right. That was the plan all along. Yeah. Brilliant, huh? Okay, let's go off and let that dry. Hey, that turned out great. That's a new technique there, okay? Because we've got those magic erasers. Yeah. You know, I might could even do a little erasing on that. It's just a little too something. It's just a little too, I don't have words for what it is. Okay, well, here. And it needs some shadows too, but maybe we'll just... I'm not even sure what I'm trying to do. I'm actually kind of scrubbing it and waiting for something to happen. And thinking that I'll see something happen that will make things all better. Oh dear, that wasn't it. Well, you know, I'm kind of losing an edge there. Let's come down over that white a little bit, because that white can't just stay stark, whatever. Let's just color it up a little bit. I'm just pulling color from wherever around, which is really what white is. You know, white, other colors bounce off of it a little bit. Well, they bounce off of it a lot, but, I mean, you know, we see a little bit of something. Oh, see, that tamed it without taking the brightness out. It's still got brightness, but it belongs now. There's a dog hair, but that'll come out later. Actually, it looks pretty good in there. I'd be okay if it stayed. Okay, so what about this? This is just sitting out here. And I know Trevina does this with these vases and leaves them white, but then she has other flat planes of stuff. This is just surrounded now by this. So I think we've got to come up with a solution, and I have two things in mind to start out. And one is to pull a little of this color in along the edges, like a glass sort of does. Actually, there might be some... maybe the glass would have a little bit of duller color. I'm just picking up some Prussian. Let's just put a little along those edges. You know, some glass has got kind of a greenish tint to it. And any tint that's in the glass is going to show up around its edges. So let's do a little bit of that. to start out with. And we're going to put some of this back in behind it. But I think I have to get this dry first. So I'm just coming along here. So that's pretty wet, so I've got a little bit of time. You see, I'm just touching the edges. And I didn't even have to get that smooth along there because this is blending it out. And then we'll touch the new edges right there. See, I've got a little bit in the bottom already. Okay, see, and I have no reflections to look at or anything. I'm just sort of making this up. So I want some shadows. I'm just going to pick up some more Prussian blue. Prussian's just a little tamed down version of phthalo. In fact, I think they make it with phthalo because they don't kill Prussians anymore. So they had to find a new way to make it. This is supposed to be a shadow from the couch. I guess the light's coming this way, huh? Let's pull a little more of this other color up. Whoa, I didn't mean to get that much. Pull a little more of this up into there. I'm having so much fun doing this stuff. You know, that's pretty good. This over in here could use a little taming down too. Let's just leave a streak of lighter going through there. See what that does. Well, if that works, maybe we need a little in the shadow up here. And not too much. See, and I'm just blending it out a little bit. I'm not doing nice, neat blends. You know, you see how little I'm working my brush? See, that would actually be a shadow there where that stitching is. Probably, or something like that. Gives it a little more dimension. Well, we'll just pull that over into here. I can live with that. It's beginning to round a little bit more and to feel a little bit more like it belongs here. I do think a shadow makes a difference. So, there's really not much of a place to put a shadow here. And you know, we could put more orange in there too to deepen it. But the glass doesn't necessarily throw much of a shadow because there's more light coming through it. Not that we care about reality. Well, I don't care about reality. Especially not now that I'm getting old. Just pretend it doesn't exist. So I have got, I've got this mess in the palette right here, and I think I've got a mess of blue over here. I'll put a little more of that in it. See, that makes kind of a dark. My point is, you can mix up almost anything and add it to your green and have it get dark. Because this needs a shadow under here. Because that really shows the bend in that leaf. Oh, I guess we could put A little more shadow right there. Let's separate it from the stem a little bit. And separate it from the part that goes in the glass. Okay, got just enough left for this. Oh, I may have a little bit of a hard edge there. See, I'm liking this. I want to get it dry, and I want to put a little bit of blues into it. But I really think it needs to get dry first. And I got to be careful about the blue. See, that goes green. I didn't want it to be green. Let's add a little more orange in there. Because, you know, a shadow on something orange will still be orange. It'll just be a deeper orange, but it should be duller too, and it might have color from the, a little color from the item that casts the shadow. I really should let this get dry before I add to it. I'll be sorry later. Okay, so again, let's stop here for a few minutes and figure out. Well, we need to figure out something. I don't know what it is we have to figure out. We better figure something out. Okay.